Hi everybody, coming into the holidays that have gone through some of the things that some of us have. And this could mean the loss of your relationship, it could mean the loss of your family, and of course, in my case, it means all of that. And then this year I lost my son. So I felt it was really important for me to do a video about how to deal with that loss and how to keep going on. I think a lot of people look at me and think, if she can do it, I can do it, because that's sort of the ultimate loss. You know, the loss of a child is sort of an ultimate loss. What gives me the gumption to keep going? What is it that keeps me going? And I realized the first time that I was sort of faced with this was 15 years ago when I had a near-death experience. And at that time, I was also very depressed. This was before I was really in the dark about all of the emotional abuse that I was enduring, and that I had loved all these people that couldn't love me back. I was really in the dark about all that stuff, but how it was coming out was that I was just really depressed. And then ultimately, I literally died of a broken heart. My heart literally broke, and I had a near-death experience as a result. It was during that near-death experience that I saw the truth about my family. I saw the truth about that my children, if I were to die, my children would be basically surrounded by people that didn't love them, and no one would know it. They would be orphans, but no one would know it because they would be surrounded by family. That I was the only one in all of their family that unconditionally loved them, and that I needed to get back to them so that I could break this cycle that had been going on for generations in my family. There was a source of love that I had, and if you have just one source, you can be okay. Granted, it's great if all of us are surrounded by an abundance of love, and that's what I thought I was giving my kids when I decided that I wanted to move back to be near my family, and I wanted to marry someone who was local, who could be surrounded by our family and friends, and I thought that was going to give my children this abundance of love. And the idea was good, the idea was solid, but I didn't yet understand that I had a disordered family. And then I didn't understand that I was going to marry someone who was going to pick up on all of my dysfunction and all of that, who was going to ultimately be a sociopath, and that it was going to turn into this horrendous nightmare that it did. I didn't know any of that, but my intentions were good. So, you know, and I had this experience, and I will say that that having my children really did keep me going. If it weren't for my children, I don't believe that I would have struggled my way back. I think that I would have said, no, I want to just go ahead and stay here, because my near-death experience, it was a wonderful experience, and I didn't want to go back because life was hard for me, and I was depressed and all this stuff. But I did go back, and I needed to take care of my children, and it is fortunate that I have a surviving son. Definitely need to live is because he needs me, but it's more than that. It is more than that. It is also that there is meaning in what's happened. That already, even before my son Noah died, I was already seeing that there was meaning in all the things that had happened. I'd already started this channel. Or actually, I hadn't launched the channel yet, but I'd already started videos. I'd already started making videos, and I was already planning to launch the channel. It really ratcheted up my understanding of the significance of what was going on, and that this was something very, very important. I also felt like my son's friends were watching me, and that there was something that I needed to show them. I needed to show them that it was going to be okay, that we were going to be okay, that there was going to be purpose and meaning in my son's life and even in his death. And, you know, once you give something meaning, it stops being the same kind of tragedy. Once you can find the meaning in it, or you can assign the meaning to it, it stops being a tragedy. And that is the case here. And I mean, I don't think for one second that I don't miss my son. And goodness sakes, I'm going to miss him every single, decorated the Christmas tree, and I have ornaments for my kids every year. So his 21st Christmas was last year, and I decided that was going to be last year. And so I had all of his 21 ornaments and hanging them all up on the tree, and, and remembering all those years. And, you also have to remember that the sadness comes from the fact that you loved him so much, and then isn't that a huge blessing? Would I have wanted to not have him? Not have all that love? Of course not. And I believe that my older son, he required a lot of attention, and he was outgoing, and he was always the one that required a lot of energy, and so it was easy for my younger son to kind of get overshadowed. And I think that that there is a meaning and a purpose in the fact that the two of us now are here together, and that I can focus on him a little bit more, and letting his light shine, and getting to know him a little bit better without having his brother overshadowing a lot of the things that he did. Because my older son struggled the last several years of his life. Was very scary for all of us, and he was in pain constantly, and there is to some degree some relief the fact that he's not in pain anymore. Of course, I wish that the way that he was going to get out of pain would have been a different way. And I believe that if there'd been more time, of course, that would have happened. But there wasn't more time. It wasn't about suffering, because I saw the meaning in it. Keep in mind, too, losing my son, that was not the first loss that I had. I lost everybody else first. Things happened the way that they were supposed to happen, and I do have a certain amount of faith in that. And that helps me. Having faith in the fact that you don't have to direct everything, that there is some order to life, and that things do happen for a reason, and that you don't have to always know what that reason is if you can have some faith in it. And I do. Definitely having a project, having something that you are working on, it gives great meaning to life. Having something that you are using your talents and your skills to work on, to create. I know that in A Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl talks about how he was working on a book at the time of getting taken into the concentration camp, and how they had taken the manuscript from him, as they took everything else, and that part of what kept him going was that he was collecting everywhere he could any little scraps of paper that he could find to recreate the manuscript, and that this was part of his mental exercises in keeping him going. And most definitely this channel has been that for me, as has been books and things that I've been working on, and so that's all been really important for my recovery from all of this. And so at first it was children, and my son, my child, but it's even things that are not actual children, but these projects, the things that, like the book that I'm writing, or this YouTube channel, these are like little babies. They're like things that I'm trying to nurture and grow and turn into something. And so it's important to have those. Another thing is, things come into your life when you're ready for them. Those things are all critical parts of how you keep going and how you give everything meaning. And as I said one more time, once you assign meaning to something, it stops being a tragedy. It stops, and you can stop suffering from it. That would be my framework for how I would say you give any kind of tragedy meaning. And as we go into the new year and the end of the year and assessing all of that, I would love to hear how some of you have framed your life, and so write in the comments about some your experiences with this kind of thing, and how you give your life meaning. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, stay tuned. I've got some more ideas for this holiday series, and I look forward to sharing some more with you. Thanks a lot, you guys.